Stinky. Having a strong or unpleasant smell. We've all stood next to someone with an overpowering stench before, but why do they smell so bad? Or maybe it's us. Today we're discussing what causes body odor and how to help control it, because let's face it, you can't shower 10 times a day to wash away the smell. 85% of the population is using aluminum-based antiperspirants that work by blocking the sweat glands and trapping harmful toxins in your body. Sweating is an important body function for expelling waste from the body. There are good, better, and best options for you that are aluminum-free and won't clog your pores. Some are even healing for the skin, so don't sweat it. We've got you covered. Welcome to Health Talk with Dr. Kell. This is episode 10. I'm Niki Sterner, and today we are discussing deodorants. Deodorants. We all need it. It's something because we all stink, right? So, Dr. Kell, let's go back to when I used to use my Speed Stick deodorant like 6 years ago. And, I grew up, I used it all my life. Why on earth would I not use it anymore? Why would I switch to something different? What's the matter with my Speed Stick?
Well, Niki, to answer that question, let me go a little roundabout there. I kind of want to mention what we're doing today. We're talking about all the different kinds of deodorants. Why is that significant? Because the majority of people who care about the way they smell and care about being socially acceptable wear some form of deodorant. Okay. Whether some people throw perfume on, most of the people in the world, though, because of what started many, many years ago, use a deodorant that contains aluminum. They discovered long ago that aluminum clogs pores, stops you from sweating. They add a little fragrance in there, usually some kind of a chemically or synthetic fragrance that covers up any smells that might be produced.
Wait, isn't that good though to not be sweating?
It is not.
Why isn't it good? I mean, I don't want to sweat and get my clothes all gross. And
well, would you like to block your ability to go to the restroom, to urinate or defecate? Would you like to stop those two things?
Why does that have anything to do with it?
Because sweat is
no, I still want to do those.
Essentially the same thing.
It is?
It is.
Okay.
It is. It's the way your body expels waste. Okay?
Okay.
So waste is coming out in your sweat. Cellular waste. Your body takes in its nutrients, breaks down those nutrients down to a microscopic level, sends them out in the bloodstream. The bloodstream carries them to the cells in your body. Those cells take in the nutrients, and they only use portions of those nutrients and then expel what's left. And then your body has to get rid of that. Some of it goes out in your feces, some of it goes out in your urine, and the rest of it pretty much goes out in your sweat. The locations that you sweat the most are in those darker areas under your arms, in the groin area, and we all know that we sweat a lot in our feet.
That's true.
Hence the fungal issues often that's common in the feet. But because of our need to be socially acceptable, people have been trying to cover up their odors forever, as long as we know and have kept records. People have tried different ways, and 2,000 years ago, they used combinations of different substances. Actually, some of the things we're using today in our own deodorants that we offer to the public now through Ocean Bay Naturals. But when they discovered that aluminum does a few things. Aluminum clogs the pores, so it blocks the sebaceous glands and the sweat glands from releasing their substances that are beneficial. Things from the sebaceous glands are good for your skin. They also help create a barrier that protects your skin from that growing bacteria that causes the odors. As I think we mentioned last week, odors are caused really from two main things. One, from the bacterial growth. The bacteria gives off gases that you smell, and it's also from the waste coming out of your body through the sweat. So if you have a really poor diet, you'll tend to smell a whole lot more in those areas that you sweat than someone who is eating well. So The other things that happen with aluminum, they discovered aluminum probably isn't so good. Chronic use of blocking those pores causes dysfunction of the glands, leading to the possibility of other issues. I mean, they're still investigating the association of blocking pores to things like cancer. Again, I'm not claiming that it causes cancer. I don't want to give people that impression other than to say, we don't know. We don't know, but people are getting away from using aluminum deodorants. It's amazing how many companies out there now are producing what they call natural deodorants. And essentially, the majority are just aluminum free. So they've taken out the aluminum. Even the regular companies that have been using aluminum for many, many years, now that the research is coming out against aluminum, they're switching. But often they're switching to some other ingredient that you may be able to call it natural, but it's still not good for your skin. So if you're a person out there who's currently using an aluminum-based deodorant, switch.
Switch to what?
Change to something. Change to something else. I always look at things as good, better, and best. Of course, I'm going to consider our deodorant the best.
Of course.
But aluminum-based deodorants are the worst, from my opinion. Mm-hmm. Then there are many so-called natural deodorants out there that some of those aren't too good for you either. And if you want to, we can go into the various reasons why.
How do you know if it's actually natural, if it just says like naturally made or... Well, because so many things are like, what do they call it, greenwashing? There
are all kinds of things out there that
it's healthy, but
contain ingredients that you can call natural. Natural just really essentially means that it wasn't synthesized in a lab. It came from some natural source, or the base product was from a natural source. Sometimes they take bits and pieces out of that natural source, breaking down, say, oils, and then they still synthesize things in a lab from those, and they can still call them natural because they came from a natural source.
And we touched on that last week in last week's podcast.
And I said before, because it says natural doesn't mean it's necessarily good for you.
Or your skin, right? Speaking of deodorants.
We're talking about, our focus of Ocean Bay Naturals is creating and offering health and hygiene products basically for the exterior of the body, though we are working on some other things that may go inside. The majority of things are for the exterior parts of the body. The deodorant specifically was designed in taking into account all the little things that in a lot of so-called natural deodorants aren't good for you either. So we found ingredients that are both good for the skin, healing for the skin, and are antimicrobial in the same process so that they inhibit the growth of bacteria that cause you to smell. If you're still smelling, it's probably because of the diet you're eating. Of course, they all have their certain level of length of use. Aluminum does subdue your sweating. By subduing the sweating, it reduces the ability of the bacteria to grow, because bacteria does grow better in a wet area. So the idea of natural deodorants is to try to help inhibit some of the sweating, but if you're going to sweat, at least stop the growth of the bacteria or slow it down. You're not going to stop it. You're going to slow it down. So a lot of people don't like, once they've tried, you hear lots of stories. Oh yeah, I switched to a natural deodorant, but it didn't really work for me. Yeah. Because I sweat so much, or I just stink so much. Mm-hmm. And the real understanding people have to get is that when you switch to a natural deodorant, it's not going to last as long as aluminum-based deodorant, in the sense of you may need to reapply. And I don't find it that big of an inconvenience. I'd rather put something on me that I know is healthy and good for me and deal with a slight inconvenience, like maybe reapplying it an extra time throughout the day, if I feel like I need it, rather than just sloshing on some stuff that's actually bad for my body.
So you're saying I'm going to stink?
You're saying you're going to stink with what?
With my non-aluminum deodorants?
Well, even with aluminum deodorant, eventually it stops working. You start smelling. I mean, before I switched to natural deodorants, even the aluminum deodorants, I mean, by the end of the day, I still smelled. So these ones, this works for 72 hours. Sorry, that's probably going to be the last one I choose.
It's a long time.
That is a long time and quite a claim. But nonetheless, to claim that says you're inhibiting a process. Would you? I don't want to get gross here, but would you want to stop yourself from defecating for 3 or 4 days in a row?
I wouldn't want to, but it's happened. So I don't know what you want me to say there.
Well, I'm sorry. We don't need to go there.
Maybe I don't do it on purpose.
That's a discussion we can talk about.
Can we save that for the poop podcast?
We have talked a little bit about those kinds of things in the past, but yes, we need another podcast just on the.
I need the 1 through 7 chart again.
Yes, and we will go over that again in the future. But let's come back to the deodorants. My point being, is that you don't want to stop that process. It's just not healthy to stop the process of sweating.
Can I say something? Like I've tried like a dozen different natural deodorants, and some of them have like the funkiest smells. Are there just all different kinds of ingredients in these? Like where are they coming up with the ingredients for these?
Well, probably the most common form of deodorant used, whether an aluminum base or a natural, is a stick. It's the simplest form of something to use, and it's essentially a paste that's spread onto the skin, onto the other arms. It's quick. I never did like a stick or the paste. The pasty feeling always bothered me. When I used an aluminum deodorant, I used a gel. That was a little wet, didn't really bother me. It dried fairly quickly. It was more slick.
Real gel?
Yeah. I preferred that over the stick because I always felt like the stick was just kind of a paste stuck under my arms, and I never really cared that much for it anyway. But it is the more common one used, and I think, our lives are so busy, we always think, oh, just one less thing I have to do, something I can throw on quick and not think about and go on with my day. So using a natural deodorant, one of the biggest complaints probably of natural deodorants, they don't work as well as an aluminum-based deodorant, and that is true. They don't work as well in the sense of keeping you from sweating as much or keeping your odor down as long. And there's all kinds of so-called natural deodorants thrown in all these to attempt to achieve the same effect as aluminum in a natural way. And in the process, they often don't give you something it doesn't work as well as the aluminum now, and it's still not healthy for your skin.
So when your body's expelling toxins, you stink, so you cover it up with aluminum. But if you actually were to get healthier, would you maybe not smell as much, so you wouldn't need the aluminum-based?
Well, it's interesting you bring that up. Usually when people who've been using aluminum-based deodorants stop using those for at least, everywhere from a week to a month, can smell a whole lot worse than they would with it on. It's like their glands, everything's backed up in there, and now your body's like been used to those glands not functioning, and now they start functioning again.
Dumping.
And so, like all this waste that's been kind of stored or backed up in there starts coming out.
Yeah.
And so you tend to smell worse. That's another reason people have a problem using natural deodorants is they start using the natural deodorant and they don't recognize that there's going to be that delay in time where it's going to take a while for their body to rid themselves of things. Mm-hmm. The other issue, though, with a lot of the natural sticks is most of the majority of ingredients used in sticks, not every ingredient, but there are ingredients in the sticks that clog the pores. They still inhibit the opening of the pores. Not as bad as aluminum, but they still do it. The other issue is they change the pH. That's one of the ways they work too. Is they've discovered that if we alter the pH of the surface of the skin, it keeps the bacteria from growing, and then the bacteria, you don't get the smell, or the smell is bad. They also often will use a fragrance, a synthetic fragrance, or even what could be called a natural fragrance that is alcohol based. And that alcohol isn't good for your skin either. That also alters the pH. Baking soda is a common ingredient used. That alters the pH. It raises it to an 8. Alcohol raises it to an 8. Your natural skin pH, which we mentioned before, is between about a 5.8 and a 6.2.
What happens when the pH of your skin goes up or down?
It causes damage to the skin. You have a natural protective barrier layer on your skin. Those oils are produced by the sebaceous glands, and And as that's expelled onto your skin, it creates a protective barrier so that it doesn't allow bacteria to enter into your body. You alter the pH, it actually breaks that barrier and allows, as the because bacteria is still there. You've inhibited it, you've killed some, you've inhibited others, but you haven't wiped it out. It's still there, still going to grow. So now you've just altered the pH of the skin. The bacteria starts to grow again, and you've just opened yourself up to that being able to enter inside your body through the skin pores and the hair follicles. That's why oftentimes you get infected skin pores and hair follicles, because now that bacteria is able to get in. And it couldn't have got in if the natural protective barrier was functional and was there. By clogging those pores, you've stopped the sebaceous glands from producing those natural oils that are protective to your skin. You've changed the pH, so that killed off the good bacteria along with the bad, and now they're reproducing, and now they can enter the skin because the barrier has been disrupted, and you've kept those sebaceous glands from working.
So why do a lot of people get rashes?
For that exact reason.
That's what you're talking
Most
about?
of the time, the rashes occur because the natural protective barrier of the skin has been disrupted. So now you've opened it up to the production of, you've stopped the lubrication. It's no longer, you take your skin and rub it together for a while, you'll get a rash. Rashes, that's one reason the rash occurs.
You mean if you dry it with?
Yeah, you put those deodorants on there, like especially the sticks. They tend to, over time, dry your skin out. And that was one of the reasons I stopped using a stick even with the aluminum years ago, is because I found it gave me rashes because of the dryness of my skin under my arms. People say, I'm really hypersensitive to things. One of the reasons you're hypersensitive is your sebaceous glands aren't working correctly. They're not putting out enough oils to keep you lubricated. And that's really what it is. It's a protective barrier, but it's also a lubricant, especially under your arms and in your groin area. If things dry up, where deodorants are always been focused, make it drier, make it drier, make it drier. We're not doing that. We created one not about making you dry, not about clogging your pores or inhibiting the function of the sebaceous glands. We created a deodorant that is healthy and healing to the skin, and great on all types of skin. It won't dry your skin out, and it helps reduce the bacteria, keep it functional.
Let's talk about yours. Nature by Ocean Bay Naturals. This is my favorite, rainforest.
Thank you.
Yes. No, thank you.
You're welcome.
No, thank you.
So you've got there, Nature is our brand. We thought that fitting because that's what it's coming from. And to imply that it is truly natural. The ingredients in that rainforest.
So there's like 4 main ingredients.
Read what's in there.
Okay.
Niki.
Yep. Deionized water.
Okay. And we use that so that it's pure as possible. No alterations, no extra minerals or things you might find still left over even in filtered water.
I don't know what deionized means.
Ionized particles are typically metals. And they are natural to our water. Stuff coming out of the tap is full of things. There's hundreds of things in there, different little particles that you can't see in the water still clear, but they're in there. If you take a meter and test them, some of the waters I've seen 300 particles per million, which is a lot. In just water out of the faucet. So basically they remove everything out of the water. It's just straight hydrogen and oxygen.
H2O.
H2O.
Okay.
And so all the minerals have been removed. So that's our base. We take a base, and then we add in
coconut oil.
We add some coconut oil in there. Coconut oil is good on the skin. It has some mild antimicrobial benefits. And everything I say when I talk about the benefits, there's research papers out there to show these things. You can go to our website at oceanbaynaturals.com, and we have lists about our ingredients and some of the research articles related to those ingredients and why it shows that they're antimicrobial and skin healing and etc. So the coconut oil, we like the coconut oil. It's organic. The brand we use is organic. And we use a fractionated form, so it stays liquid. It doesn't turn solid.
Oh, okay.
A lot of the stuff you'll find in the store is just straight coconut oil. Tends to be more of a paste, especially in colder weather, and will liquefy in the summer months as your house heats up. But we use a defractionated form, which keeps it as a liquid. Still a good, healthy form, not bad for you at all.
And you have essential oils.
Organic. Yes, then we've used essential oils. And each deodorant, we have 9 different types of
Scents.
Or scents, say, better said. 1 unscented, and then 8 different scents. The one you have there is called Rainforest. And we use these names tied back to some of the essential oils and where they come from. And
The next ingredient says essential oils. Which ones are you using in your deodorants?
well, there's a wide variety, but we had one rule when we decided which ones to use. One, we wanted to use them as a source of the scent. Scent is significant, obviously, to everybody. You want to smell good. So we wanted it to smell good and be able to create combinations of those essential oils that still smelled good. We wanted those essential oils to be antimicrobial so that they would inhibit the growth of bacteria under your arm. And we also wanted them to show through research that they were healing to the skin. We wanted to stop irritation to the skin. And in fact, I think I mentioned last week that we've had people say and we're not recommending this, so don't say I did, but people have used it on cuts and bruises and things because all the ingredients in there are safe to use, and we're in the process of creating that kind of a product as well that you can use, but all these ingredients are safe to be used anywhere on the skin. I wouldn't put it in your eyes. Tastes kind of nasty to spray in your mouth, but even then it's non-toxic.
So you're saying the benefits of the essential oils you're using are that they are antibacterial and they are healthy to your skin.
Healing.
They're healing to your skin. Thank you.
Research shows that they help to heal the skin.
So which specific essential oils are your favorites that you're using in here?
Well, we've got many. Actually, I think I have a list of over 20 different essential oils in the 8 different scented deodorants. But just to mention a few, of course, you got lavender, jasmine, cinnamon, neroli. You've got like in the citrus, we have grapefruit. We've got lime. We use myrrh. Myrrh is a big one that used to be used in the time of Jesus. Remember frankincense, myrrh, and gold. Were given to and that's one of the things they used in that time. And we do have, like in our Ocean Sunrise version, myrrh and lime are the 2 essential oils in there. Both known to, as with all the rest, known to have very beneficial effects at helping to heal the skin and reduce microbial growth.
Nice. How did you come up with each scent? What was the process for that?
Really, first created that base number of different essential oils, and we did a lot of work with that. Literally, in my lab, there's probably 100 plus different essential oils. Then I narrowed it down to, as I began to do more investigation and study, which ones are truly the best at being antimicrobial and skin healing. And so I broke it down, came up with a little 20 of them, and then just started playing with those and doing different combinations to create the different fragrances.
Oh, nice. Okay, the last ingredient says ionized silver, 0.001%. What does that mean?
It's 10 parts per million. It's a very, very tiny amount. And we put the silver in there because it has been shown through a lot of research that externally on the body, silver works wonders with, it's now used in wound care, used with burn victims, and for it actually helps. Research showing it actually works well with helping wounds to heal.
What about like scars? Like after people have surgery, do they use it on that?
Well, during the healing process is when it's most beneficial.
Oh.
After the fact, after the scar's formed, there are other things you can do, and maybe that could be a podcast sometime. What can I do for my scars?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because there are things, substances you can use that can help with reducing the significance of a scar or the ability to see that scar. You can't really ever totally get rid of it, it's just not going to happen. But you can make it less noticeable.
What about my emotional scars?
Your emotional scars. It's fortunate.
Can you get rid of those?
It's fortunate that we can't see those scars in us. Although you can sometimes read it on people's faces when they don't seem to ever smile, no matter what happens. But
then other people just cover it with a smile.
That's right.
And you'd never know.
That's right. That's right. Yep. They're good at faking it. So
fake it till you make it.
Yes.
So they say, I've never faked it though. Never.
Yeah. Me either.
Yeah. You either. Okay. Good.
So, anything else you'd like to know about the deodorant? I guess something that I would like to say is sometimes people are like, I don't want to use a spray, or that's wet. Ooh, yuck. You know, and that's why the stick is probably the most popular.
No. This morning when I used mine, I sprayed it and then I ran through my bathroom and I just flapped my wings and I just aired it all out. I did the chicken dance. No.
I found so many different people talk about so many different ways that they apply it and how it feels to them. For me, I have a problem with it. I spray it, I use, probably anywhere from, like we see on the bottle, 4 to 6 sprays under each arm. Feels a little wet, but I kind of rub my arms together a little bit.
Just like the chicken dance.
And go put my shirt on, because there's no concern about this with it getting on your clothes. We've not found it to cause staining of any types of material. Please, if you find any out there, let us know. We'll let people know. But I'll just, put my undershirt on and my other shirt over it, and I might feel a little moistness on the shirt. It's not going to hurt anything, but it dries, fairly quickly. And it's a combination of water and oils, and so those oils remain after the water dries and are slowly absorbed into the skin, and they're safe for the skin and the body. So if the body absorbs them, they actually combine with your body's natural protective barrier. So really, they're building the protective barrier. They're keeping that area lubricated, which it needs to be. They're not clogging the pores, so you can still sweat. But it is inhibitive to the sweat. Essential oils in their natural form are actually they actually wick moisture. So one of the things they tell you, don't put many essential oils, they're like, don't put them directly before diluting them or putting them in a carrier oil, such as coconut oil. Put them in a carrier oil before you put them on the skin. And the reason is because it dries the skin. That oil is so strong, it's actually sucking moisture out of the skin. So our oils also have we've had added the carrier oil with the coconut oil. The ratio is still small, so there's still a wicking effect or a moisture absorbing effect, mild effect that occurs. So as you sweat, it helps absorb that moisture to slow down the feeling of being wet.
Okay, so if I am switching from one of these other natural deodorants, because I've already gotten rid of my aluminum-based deodorant, so done with that. What is the process for switching to nature deodorant? How do I do that?
What's the difference?
Yeah.
And for all those out there still using aluminum, it would be the same way, whether I'm switching. Basically, we're talking more about switching from, say, a stick to a deodorant like ours, which is a spray, and we should soon have a roll-on as well. We've had a lot of requests for a roll-on, and we've been testing different bottles recently and still testing more. So hopefully in the next few weeks or in the next couple of months, we'll have that roll-on available. And we will eventually come out with our own stick. Again, I have just inside me, it's hard for me to create the stick or think about creating the stick, because just being a paste initially clogs your pores, and I don't want to clog those pores. So we're working on one. We can come out with one where truly all the ingredients are shown to have no clogging effects on the hair follicles or pores. They don't strip the sebum layer off the skin. They don't change the pH. We'll have one. But that's one of the things you won't find in a lot of stick deodorants is they don't say what the pH is on them. And that's significant because you don't want to change the pH of the skin, and ours doesn't. So anyway, in transition, to answer your question, it's going to be different. Application-wise, if you've gone from an aluminum-based deodorant to a natural deodorant, you probably already found, hey, doesn't appear to last as long as the aluminum. And that is often true. Some people, I've heard many people say, or you can read the reviews, everything from it caused rashes to it gave me pimples around the outsides of my underarms.
Mm-hmm.
And that occurred, again, because the sebum layer was stripped. And so now it left you bare. Now the bacteria started growing, caused the rash, caused the infection. The rubbing causes the rash too. When you go from a stick to and you could even call ours sort of a lotion. It's a little thinner than regular lotion. It's a little more watery. But when it goes on there, it's going to feel a little bit wet. But that's going to dry fairly quickly. Again, you don't have to worry about it getting on your clothes. A lot of these other deodorants, even the natural ones, can cause staining of your clothes.
It's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
You get like that white mark and stuff on your tank top. And yeah, it's gross.
Yeah.
Or like when you're putting your shirt on and you pull it back down, then it has like the white lines.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I used that.
We have not found that to be an issue with ours. And so length of time in use, that's always a concern in the first few weeks after discarding your aluminum-based deodorant. And even with some of the natural deodorants, if your body's now used to using the baking soda or the alcohol or the acids, which all are ill-affecting the sebum layer and the pH on your skin, it can take a while for it, because basically that also has inhibited the function of the sebaceous and sweat glands. Maybe not to the significant level as aluminum does, but it has caused that. Ours won't do that. So that's one of the things you can find that you'll get from ours. Do you have to use it more frequently? It depends on you. And in the first few weeks, you probably definitely need to use it more frequently, and you'll find a level where, hey, I need to apply it. You know what? If you're having a stressful day, you're going to find you need to reapply deodorant more frequently. If you're having a heavy exercise day, I have gone out with our deodorant and done a lot of outside work and found for several hours I still didn't smell.
Well, you have a smaller size, a 1 ounce size that you can just throw in your purse. I mean, for women.
Yep, we've got a 1 ounce, 2 ounce,
guys, you could just
an
throw it
8
in
ounce
your car.
refill.
Yeah,
and we're looking at other sizes as well. We have a trial size that we have so that people can try it out. It gives you a couple weeks worth of deodorant, and you can try out the scents and try out how it works for you. Though the one drawback to if you're switching from a natural deodorant like a stick or one of the other types, that 2 week supply is probably just fine. You should be able to tell within the first week or so. Is that going to work for you? Do you like the fragrance, et cetera, et cetera? If you're switching from aluminum, you may need more than just the sample we provide, because it may take you a month or more before your body settles out. So that answer your question?
Yes. So if you're like 85% of the people out there right now and you're still using your aluminum deodorant, you're saying it's time to switch over to something that's natural.
Absolutely.
And check the ingredients, because there's a lot of things saying they're natural that may cause irritation to your skin and your natural protective barrier, you said. So look for healing things in the ingredient lists. And
for pH levels. That's the one thing that's hard. None of these natural stick deodorants talk about their pH. Now, maybe some of them have them on their websites. I would go check, try to find out what the pH level is being produced on your natural deodorant. But I can already tell you, if there's baking soda in your deodorant stick, if there's any alcohols in your deodorant stick, if there's any acids in your deodorant stick, the pH is off.
Is it going to say acid on it, or is it going to be called something else?
Some of the ingredient, well, you can read some of them ingredients will say acid on there, like citric acid. But some of there's other deodorant brands out there that use acid that lower the pH below the 5.8 level, and so you've got those that have taken things like use ingredients like baking soda and alcohol that raise the pH up to about an 8. Then there's others that lower the pH below a 5.8 and going down to a 5 or sometimes lower. The effects of that is now you've altered the ecosystem under your underarm, essentially, and that inhibits the growth of the bacteria, because they've recognized through research that leaving the pH normal allows the bacteria to grow. Well, we keep the pH normal and still inhibit the growth of the bacteria, so have the same effect. We believe, and all our research shows, our deodorant is just as effective as any of the other natural deodorants. Some people feel it's better, obviously, and I'm not going to claim that in its antiperspirant effect, it's not as good as aluminum. But it's far healthier.
No sweating.
You don't want to sweat, and you don't care about your health. Keep using it. But we're trying to help. We're trying to help your health. We're trying to help you and make the world a better place. And all these other companies that sell and make their natural deodorants, I think their goals are similar to ours. Mm-hmm. We're just offering another alternative we think is better.
Yeah. So let's bump the percentage up of people who are using natural deodorants.
Yeah, we just want to get people off the aluminum.
Yeah.
And the other, we have a list of 20-some bad ingredients that are common in deodorants and other skin products you can find on our website at oceanbaynaturals.com.
I was going to say, will you post that for the listeners?
Okay. And we're continually posting new articles on different topics. And we want people to email us if there's other things that they're concerned about or worried about. They can't find it on Google or whatever. Come to our website, ask the questions, give us the questions. We'll find the answers. We'll get back to you.
Okay. And be sure to check the show notes for all this information, too. We'll put it there.
Okay. Great.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today, talking about natural deodorants and helping us to understand why we need to switch and what's in the natural deodorants and what's good and what's bad and why it's bad and why it's good. I think we learned a lot today, and we have a lot of options out there, and yours is one of the best, the nature deodorants. I know I'm happy with it, and I've tried a dozen. So thank you for being on the show today.
And what was your favorite fragrance again?
Mine is Rainforest.
We battle with the name fragrance. People think fragrance, they think an alcohol-based perfume or something, and which is usually what fragrance means. So that's your scent, right?
Yes, that's my scent because I don't wear
Rainforest.
That's
your favorite.
I don't wear fragrance stuff. A lot of the deodorants too, you have to be careful of because they do have fragrance in there, and it really is fragrance.
And by the way, the bottles do not mention specifically which essential oils are in them. You can find that on our website. And you can also find it at the retails, online retail stores where we sell on Amazon, eBay, Etsy, Walmart.com, et cetera, and at oceanbaynaturals.com, of course.
Okay, perfect. All right, so you said you have an offer for our listeners. Where can they go to find that? And
well, in celebration of our 10th podcast, Niki,
big.
They can just go to our website, enter in podcast 10, and they'll get a discount on the deodorant.
Is that podcast 10?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. I just wanted to spell that out. Okay.
And so they can get that deodorant at a greatly discounted price.
Oh, fantastic.
And actually, we're probably going to run in the near future, too, some offers where within a given amount of time, we may give away free samples.
Oh, that's exciting.
So they can go on
and try it.
Link up to that and try it for free.
See which scents they like.
Yep.
Fantastic. All right. Well, I hope you learned something today. I know I did. Thank you so much for joining us. And on our next episode, we're going to discuss nanosilver. So if you have been curious about that like I have, please join us.
Also called colloidal. So we're going to discuss them both. Most people know silver. Colloidal silver is probably the most popular name, but yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, thanks for clearing that up.
Yeah, we'll discuss in the next episode the difference.
Perfect. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us. If you learned something today, please invite a friend to come and listen to us. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week. Thanks, everybody.
While we make every effort to broadcast correct information, we are still learning. We will double-check all facts, but realize that medicine is a constantly changing science and art. One doctor may have a different way of doing things from another. We are simply presenting our views on how to live a healthy lifestyle that will be as evidence-based as possible. We welcome any comments, suggestions, or corrections of errors. We take no money from drug or device companies. By listening to this podcast, you agree not to use this podcast as medical advice to treat any medical condition in either yourself or others, including but not limited to patients that you are treating. Consult your own physician for any medical issues that you may be having. This entire disclaimer also applies to any guests or contributors to the podcast. Under no circumstances shall Dr. Kell Fullerton or any guests or any contributors to the podcast or any employees, associates, or affiliates of Dr. Kell Fullerton be responsible for damages arising from use of this podcast. This blog should not be used in any legal capacity whatsoever, including but not limited to establishing standard of care in a legal sense or as a basis of expert witness testimony. No guarantee is given regarding the accuracy of any statements or opinions made on this podcast. Our website, blog, and podcasts are all HIPAA compliant. While you may give your email address to subscribe to the website posts or to post information on the website blog, we will never share your email address or contact information with any third parties without your explicit permission. The contents of Health Talk with Dr. Kell podcast and the show notes are all copyrighted. All blog posts, Podcasts and show notes that are distributed to the public for free can be redistributed via hard copy or electronic copy for free only if Health Talk with Dr. Kell is included as the acknowledged author within the actual media that is being redistributed. The Health Talk with Dr. Kell podcast is a production of the Orange Stack, with executive producers Dr. Kell Fullerton and Eric Hammond and hosts Niki Sterner.